Hello and welcome to the world of stories. I'm sure you're here for a bedtime story to help you drift into sleep. And so, let's begin. Arg! Cried the queen as she saw her newborn son for the first time. Surely this baby can't be mine. He's hideously ugly. The fairy midwife sighed. It was true. The tiny face of the queen's new baby boy was swamped by a huge red nose. He was cross-eyed, and his shoulders were humped. One of his legs was much shorter than the other, and to top it all off, the baby was totally bald, except for a single tuft of hair sticking up in the middle of his head. Never mind your little boy's looks, your majesty, the fairy midwife comforted the queen. I promise that your son will grow up to be far more intelligent, witty, and charming than any other people, and everyone will love him for it. What's more, I'm going to give him a gift. I'm going to give him the power to make the girl he falls in love with as intelligent as he is, so he won't ever get bored with her company. Now, what are you going to call your special little son? Ricky, the queen decided, making up her mind that she loved her son after all. He's my little Ricky with a tuft. Not long afterwards, the queen of a neighboring kingdom gave birth to twin daughters. The first tiny girl to be born was so perfect that the queen at first thought she was looking at a little angel from heaven. But the second baby was as ugly as her elder sister was beautiful. Oh dear, said the fairy midwife, the same one who had helped out at the birth of Ricky with a tuft. I have to tell you that your older daughter will grow up to be incredibly stupid. However, there is some comfort. Your younger daughter will stay ugly, but she will be so clever that no one will even notice. The queen was relieved that her younger daughter's fate seemed to be taken care of, but she was very worried about her elder daughter. Can we somehow give the elder one some of the younger one's intelligence? The queen suggested. I'm afraid that's beyond my powers, the fairy midwife replied. However, what I can do for her is to make her more beautiful than any girl in the world. What's more, I'll also give her a gift. The boy she falls in love with will become as beautiful as she is, so she will never tire of looking at him. So 16 or so years passed, and the two princesses grew up exactly as the fairy midwife had said they would. Strangers were at first entranced by the beauty of the elder princess. However, they would soon creep away because just trying to make conversation with her was as difficult as digging a field with a spoon. The strangers would then turn to the younger princess and be captivated by her intelligent and entertaining chat. Everyone totally forgot how plain and ungainly the princess was after only 5 minutes in her enchanting company. Unfortunately, the beautiful elder sister knew very well that she was exceedingly stupid and embarrassing. She often stole away into the woods to be on her own, and it was on one of these lonely walks that she first encountered Ricky with a tuft. It wasn't an accident that the princess and the prince came to meet each other. Ricky with the tuft had fallen desperately in love with the pictures of the princess that were for sale in all the shops. After collecting every single one, sticking them all over his bedroom walls, and gazing at them adoringly for hours on end, Ricky with the tuft had decided that he wanted to marry the real thing. He had set off determined to find her. My lady, I feel as if I have been looking for you all my life, sighed Ricky with the tuft, bowing low to the princess. The princess just shrugged, as she couldn't think of anything to say to the remarkably ugly prince who stood before her. I have never seen a girl as beautiful as you, admitted Ricky with a tuft. As I should know more than most, beauty is an important blessing that shouldn't be taken for granted. The sad princess blurted out, I would much rather be as ugly as you are, if only I could be a little less stupid. Luckily, Ricky with a tuft wasn't offended. I have the perfect solution, he smiled. I love you with all my heart, and if you'll only consent to be my wife, you'll become as wise and witty as you could ever wish to be. The princess wasn't sure if she understood or not what the prince was saying, She stood gaping, open-mouthed. "I can see you are a little taken back by the suddenness of my proposal," said Ricky with a tuft. "So, I'll give you a whole year to get used to the idea." The princess said nothing to disagree, and so Ricky with a tuft trotted off home, his heart full to bursting with happiness. From that moment on, the princess discovered that she was as intelligent and entertaining as she was beautiful. The news spread rapidly, and princes and lords and earls came from kingdoms far and wide to seek her hand in marriage. Of course, in all the excitement, the princess quite forgot about Ricky with the tuft. Her mind was completely taken up with one big worry. The princess thought each suitor were very handsome in his own way, but now that she herself was so clever, she found them all extremely boring. "How can I marry a man whose conversation sends me to sleep within 5 minutes?" she sighed wistfully. One day, the princess decided to wander alone into the woods to think the problem over. She hadn't been gone long when she came across 100 servants preparing a banquet among the trees. They were hanging flags and balloons and colored lanterns in the branches. They were scurrying to and fro in the vast outdoor kitchen, cooking a delicious feast. They were setting up a dance floor and a bandstand and laying thousands of tables and chairs, all beautifully decked with flowers. "Whatever is going on?" the astounded princess asked one of the servants. She had attended many wonderful balls, but had never been to one on such a grand, gorgeous scale. "The person giving this banquet must have a very important reason to throw such a beautiful party. Tomorrow, our master, Ricky with the tuft, is getting married," the breathless servant replied. "He loves his bride with all his heart and is throwing the best wedding feast ever." The princess gasped as she suddenly remembered the squinting, limping, hunchbacked prince with the huge nose and the strange tuft of hair, whom she had met exactly a year before. "I give him the impression I would marry him," she thought in horror. The princess suddenly saw Ricky with a tuft himself heading through the tree towards her. "Good afternoon, my darling," he cried. "I have kept my words and have come to see how you feel about marrying me now." The princess hung her head in shame. "There is no doubt in my mind that you are the kindest, most honorable, most intelligent person in the world," she sobbed. "I would love to be with you forever, but I can't. I am deeply sorry that I can never marry you, for I can't get over your terrible ugliness." To the princess's amazement, Ricky with the tuft laughed out loud. "Well, I do believe that you have fallen in love with me after all," he cried. And when the princess looked up, she saw that Ricky with the tuft had become as handsome as she herself was beautiful. "Didn't you know you had the power to do that?" the prince beamed. The princess fell into his arms, and the very next day, she and her prince had the best wedding feast ever, just as Ricky with the tuft had wanted. That's it for tonight. Thank you for listening. Have a great night. Please like and subscribe if you like my contents. I shall update daily and continue with my best efforts. Good night.